Howdy, guys. Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone is doing good. Happy Thursday, April 10th, my friends. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day so far. It's been a few days since I saw you guys taking a long, nice, needed break from all that crazy weather we've been dealing with. It's been pretty nuts, man. Thankfully, we're in a little bit of a calm. Well, I say that as we're getting ready to cover some more severe weather today, but we thankfully had at least a couple of day break versus kind of what we've been dealing with previously. But anyways, what's up, guys? Let's see what we got here today. We have Tabletop, we have Crystal, we have Rogues, we have Roby, we have Kaylee, MD, Just Me, Rich, no, sorry, not your mom. We have Sparkles, Wendy. Let's see here. Gosh, I can never say my own mod's name right. I'm going to call you Kai. Kai's here. We have Ponderosa and Binksy. What's up, guys? Hope everyone's doing well. Good to have y'all here. So, this is the risk area for today. We got a level 2 slight risk out there, a level 2 severe weather threat for today. So, if you guys are in the dark green and the yellow, you guys are in active risk today for a little bit of severe weather potential. So that is something we need to look out there for. So the risk goes all the way up to southern Ohio in that level 1 severe weather threat, down to areas like Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas, and all the way down into the deep south. Now today's main concern here, the main threat for severe weather today is going to be across like central northern Alabama, central northern Mississippi, northeastern Arkansas, southeastern Missouri, southern Illinois, a little bit of south central, southwestern Kentucky. Most of the threat's going to be in Tennessee. As you guys can see, most of the state here is in that level 2 severe weather threat overall. But like I mentioned, there is potential for severe weather in the dark green areas here as well. The light green, just a generalized thunderstorm threat. Just saying a few thunderstorms are possible, but nothing really expected to be severe in these areas. So if you guys are in the dark green, once again, in the yellow, you guys are at risk here for severe weather for today. What's up, Bella? What's up, Iguana? What's up? Let's see here. I think I already said. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, Binksy. What's up? What's up, Sabish? Hope you're doing good, my friend. Let's see. Tabletop, man, coming with a $2 super chat. Thank you, man. Saying morning. Thoughts on Wilmington tomorrow? Tornado risk. So there is no risk tomorrow for tornadoes out there. We do have a marginal risk though. For tomorrow as well. So the continuation of severe weather will extend into tomorrow. Just a little itty-bitty threat. Nothing super big tomorrow. A couple of severe storms possible up in like northern Florida, a little bit of southern Georgia, into the Carolinas. No tornado threat tomorrow. In terms of damaging winds, we have a 5% chance and a 5% chance for hail. So just a little bit of gusty winds up to 60-mile-an-hour wind gust tomorrow, and just potential hail up to 1 to 2 inches in diameter. So yeah, nothing really super crazy there, man. But thank you for the 2. I appreciate it. What's up, Dragonfly? Saying good morning from snowy Michigan. Good morning. Good morning, Kayla. Hope you're doing good. But anyway, so let's go ahead and go over today's threat here. So thankfully, tornadoes are not going to be much of a concern today. The risk is less than 2%, so we're not really expecting a whole lot of tornadic activity today, thankfully. However, we do need to watch out, though, for those winds. We do have the potential for some gusty winds ranging, 60 to 70 miles an hour within those storms here. So, given that level 1 risk here across the brown, all the way up here for portions like Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, going down into the south. So anywhere in the brown here, this is a 5% chance probability of seeing damaging wind gusts within a 25-mile radius of your location. So within 25 miles around you, there is a 5% chance probability here of having, damaging wind gusts here between 60 to 70. Now, once you work your way into the yellow, which is the greatest risk today for severe weather, that's a 15% chance probability of seeing damaging winds in this. I can't even English. Winds in this case, potentially up to like I said, 60 to 70 miles an hour overall. So within the storms, we could have some strong wind gusts. These are not sustained winds. These are what the winds could peak up to essentially for later today within those storms, giving you that 15% chance once again across the yellow and 5% chance here across the brown. Now, in terms of hail, we also do have ourselves a bit of a concern today for hail as well. Another 15% chance here, talking a 15% chance probability for hail, getting between 1 to 2 inches in diameter, within a 25-mile radius of a given location. And same thing for the brown, same hail size potential, 1 to 2 inches in diameter, but just a little bit lower probability, but there still is potential for, a couple of isolated severe storms capable of both damaging winds and hail within these regions here. So definitely do need to look out there for that overall. Let's see here. Cherokee says, morning all from east central Nebraska. We're expecting strong winds for the rest of the week, 30 to 45 miles an hour. Let's actually take a peek at that real quickly. Let's go ahead and hop over to the models real quickly. We will see what is going on here out there. I do know that there is definitely some strong winds coming up here. Let's go ahead and bring up those wind gusts here for you guys. Go ahead and load that up real quickly. Let's use the HRRR. We have the 12 Zulu run coming through, so we have a brand new run coming through here. So looking at everything, let's go ahead and move that there. So as we work way down in time, yeah, I mean, you can definitely see that we are going to start to see a bit of strong winds and stuff like that out there. According to HRRR, yeah, we could be seeing some wind gusts upwards of 30 to 40 miles an hour or so as we work our way down throughout this morning. Working our way into the afternoon as well. You can definitely see that those wind gusts do definitely pick up quite a bit, especially across like the Central Plains into the Midwest and whatnot. Definitely is going to be pretty gusty out there across a lot of the Central Plains and the Midwest regions here overall. Now, given some of those storms later on, like we mentioned here, there is going to be some potential for some really strong wind gusts, within those storms here. You can kind of see, we're going to bring up the future radar here from the HRRR model. And what you guys are going to notice here is that, there is going to be the potential for, definitely some strong storms rolling through here. We kind of have a little bit of a line of storms kind of pushing through this morning across like eastern Tennessee. But later on today, we're definitely going to be developing quite a bit of storm activity here, up across portions of like we mentioned, the risk area here, including like Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky. Those areas there, we definitely do need to look out there for, like I said, the potential of, not really tornadoes, but more of a concern for more of like, damaging wind gusts and, a little bit of hail and whatnot there as well. So that is that. Let's see here. Crystal says, congratulations on 31K. Thank you. I appreciate it. Bella, there is no tornado threat between today and tomorrow, so we're good. Good morning, Amy. Hope you're doing good, my friend. Let's see here. You're welcome, Bella. No problem. What's up, T-Star? Saying hi, Andrew. Good to see you. Yep, you too. Glad to have you here. MD says, you're welcome. Oh, I guess you're talking to somebody else. What's up, Ames? Saying no tornado risk today. Yeah, so thankfully we do not have a tornado risk for today. That is definitely some really, really good news here. Let's go ahead and hop you guys back over here to this program here. So like I mentioned, the tornado risk for today, as you can see, is, there is no data here, so there is no tornado risk out there for today. But like I mentioned, though, we shouldn't just brush it off today because there is no tornado threat. There still is a concern for severe weather, though. And like I mentioned, we still have a pretty big risk for damaging wind gusts here and hail. And we're definitely going to need to look out there for those, as, that's going to be, quite a bit of a concern here for today. Now, for tomorrow, like I mentioned, too, just a marginal risk here, level 1 threat tomorrow. No tornadoes, a little bit of gusty winds, a little bit of hail. Then we work our way into day 3, and honestly, we should be pretty good here. Let's see here real quickly. Go and pull this up real fast. All right, so let me go ahead and I want to show you guys this real quickly. So not only do we have a risk for today and tomorrow, but as we work our way into day 5, notice that Storm Prediction Center has actually put up a risk here for severe weather. Let's see here. Yeah, for areas of like southern Ohio, out there by like Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia here for Monday. So looking over here at the official page of the Storm Prediction Center here, looking at today, like I mentioned, we have that slight risk here that we're going to actually do some coverage today. I forgot to mention that. We are going to go live for this later today. Definitely do think we're going to need to do a little bit of coverage here, just for a little bit of hail, a little bit of gusty winds. But so that's that. Less than 2% chance probability for tornadoes, 15% wind threat, 15% hail threat. Working our way into tomorrow, like I mentioned, we have that marginal. But then, yeah, once we work our way into later on, early next week, we do have that threat for severe weather here on Monday. Once again, for Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, Indiana. So we'll definitely need to look out there for that there overall. But let's go ahead and hop back to the models here. We're going to talk a little bit about the timing, and then we'll do a little bit more of the breakdown into, kind of the ingredients that's going to be in place here. So, like we mentioned here overall, we're going to be getting that storm activity starting to kick off here later on, kind of this evening, kind of this afternoon and evening here. You can kind of see, according to HRRR on the latest run here, that 12 Zulu that's coming through now, it kind of looks like roughly anywhere from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern time, so 3 to 4 Central time. We could start to see some of that storm activity developing here, across our areas like Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, and whatnot. We do, like I said, have a little line of storm activity rolling through, like North Carolina here. This is not really expected to really be much of anything concerning, but we still could definitely get a few booms of thunder out of it and whatnot. So that is that. So that is definitely something that we need to, look out there for. But yeah, I mean, you can see once we approach our way into the evening, you guys can see the time in the bottom right here. Once we get into the evening hours, overall, we really start to pick up, quite a bit of storm activity, a lot of clustered storms starting to roll its way into like Alabama and Georgia and whatnot. Now, if we were to take this a little bit further in time, and for that, we're going to backtrack to the 06 Zulu run here. But yeah, you can see eventually that that concern will approach its way into like the Carolinas here. Actually looking like we might even get some storms pretty early out there by like North and South Carolina here. You can kind of see a little low spinning up there towards western North Carolina here. And then, of course, following that later tomorrow afternoon, it looks like we could get quite a few scattered, relatively isolated storms. But given the given the way that the atmosphere is, going to be kinematic wise, tornadoes are not really going to be a concern, thankfully. Really not expecting anything tornadic wise, because for really tornadic concern, what you need in the atmosphere is a lot of strong lower level wind shear, typically from the south to the north. But in this case, the lower level winds are not really going to be super supportive of this. If we take a look here at the lower level winds overall, let's go ahead and bring you guys over here to the lower level wind shear. You guys can kind of see here as we approach our way down in time, there's really not going to be much of that concern here, because a lot of our lower level winds in this case for today's storms, it's going to be mostly moving from west to east, not really blowing in the direction it kind of really needs to be. With those lower level winds, and plus, lower level wind shear, even if is not super strong, within those storms out there for today. So that is that. But yeah, later tomorrow though, looking at the models, regarding some of those storms out here, for later on in the afternoon, we were looking at with those storms developing, for the Carolinas, those lower level winds are just not going to be supportive for tornadoes. Once again, really the only concern is just going to be, mostly between gusty winds and that hail threat there overall. That's kind of overall the main concern here. Let's see here. Amy says, just signed up for my local ham radio club. They train for storm. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Happy for you, Amy. That's pretty neat. Let's see here. Has the Weather Service issued their final outlook? I wouldn't count on potential tornado risk until storms start. So as of now, what I can tell you with this is that, just looking at the models and, how this storm's expected to play out, the tornado threat's not going to really be a concern due to a lack of wind shear within the atmosphere. Those kinematics are not really supportive overall for that. Let me do something real quickly. We're gonna split this into two panels here. Also, if you guys do want to check out this program here, we do have you guys can see there in the bottom right there overall, AugusteroWX.com. You guys can check out the code too and get 20% off your first month if you guys wanted to check all that out too. I figured you guys would probably like the models and stuff like that, so that's a really good site to track the weather yourself, which it's definitely a really cool program, very powerful. Yeah, let me go ahead and reload this real quickly. So we're going to go ahead and load up two panels. So you can, it's very customizable too. So we're going to go ahead and bring back up the HRRR here overall. So we're going to go ahead and load that. Actually, I'll take that back. We're going to we're going to just do this all on one panel here. Let's go ahead and get our radar back up and running. So we'll go ahead and bring up our radar, but I'm also going to overlay those lower level winds here to kind of show you guys that as well. What's up, Renita? Hope you're doing good, my friend. So, yeah, let me go ahead and overlay the lower level winds here too. We'll do this, 850 millibar wind speed. So if we turn on those barbs here, and we switch to this overall, there you go. You can kind of see those lower level winds now over the future radar and stuff. And you can see that the wind shear is not super strong, relatively with these storms here. Which is a good thing. That's, like I said, that's going to really limit, the potential for, or kind of remove that potential for tornadic activity today. We're not really expecting tornadoes and whatnot, so that's good. One thing I will also overlay too is the mid-level winds too. So we'll go ahead and overlay the 500 millibar wind shear, and we'll make that in. Let's make that in yellow. Yeah, we'll go ahead and overlay those, and we'll change that color to yellow. That way you guys can kind of see where the mid-level winds are and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, you can see that most of the wind shear, I mean, given mid and lower level winds, are mostly tracking in the same direction, from west to east. Like I mentioned, for really a tornadic type of event, you would really want that wind shear. Let me go ahead and bring up my pen here. So I can go ahead and draw on the screen here. It makes it a little bit easier to explain things. Yeah, I mean, you'd really want those winds, I mean, coming down from the south, pulling to the north here, with wind direction changing with altitude. So that's kind of the tornadic setup you would want for tornadoes. But, given the fact that in this event here, the winds are mostly flowing in the same direction. There's not much veering, and not to mention, honestly, just giving it, I mean, tornado potential is just really not much of a problem. And that's all you really need to know here is that, today, given the fact we do have a pretty good amount of storm activity rolling through, we're not really talking anything, really tornadic overall. So that's the good news. But with that being said, though, hopping back over here to the SPC outlook here, we definitely do need to, still be weather aware out there, given the fact that we still do have, pretty big risk out there for severe weather here, overall, in which, you guys can see once again in the dark green and the yellow regions here for today. That is where our that is where our risk for severe weather is today. Not tornadic risk, like I mentioned, but we got to look out for a little bit of hail, a little bit of gusty winds within the dark green and the yellow shades here. That level 1 marginal risk here across the green. That level 2 slight risk here across the yellow overall. And regarding to the breakdown here for severe weather probability for today, once again, tornadoes not a concern. Damaging winds, we do have that 5% across the brown, the 15 across the yellow, and then same thing for hail, the 5% chance across the brown, and a 15% chance for hail across the yellow. So, within those storms today, across this risk area here, this is, we're gonna have potential for hail ranging 1 to 2 inches in diameter here, as well as damaging wind gusts ranging between 60 to 70 miles an hour overall. So, that is that. Let's see here. Stefan says, good morning, sir. Thanks for the weather update. Yep, no problem. After last week, I feel pretty confident that most are a little gun shy. What? What? You talking about the storms for, coming up here soon? But you're very welcome, my friend. Glad to have you here. What's up, Renita? Hope you're doing good. Let's see here. Erika says, thank you. Yep, no problem. Binksy says, I'll go. Yeah, it is a really cool program. Definitely. Renita, coming in with a membership here, Tropical Storm Club. Thank you so much, Renita. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Very, very sweet of you. Big shout out goes to you, Renita. Everybody in chat, please give Renita a big thank you. Let's see here. Iguana says, I see. Well, that's good news. I can manage with the hail and damaging winds at least. Still going to stay vigilant. The weather loves the surprise last second. We'll see. But like I mentioned here, I mean, just given, the ingredients here that is, for today, thankfully, like we mentioned here, not really expecting any, tornadoes or anything like that. Let me go ahead and remove this here. We're going to go ahead and bring up our lower level winds again here. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and pull up actually, we'll do helicity, 500 millibar and 850. So this is kind of a good, kinematic view for, tornadic activity and whatnot. So, later today here, so our mid-level winds are the red barbs. The lower level winds are the yellow barbs here. And so, in this case, when we get those storms firing off here later on, our mid-level winds are moving to the east. Our lower-level winds are moving to the southeast. So, not really a good type of setup for heavy tornadic activity or whatnot overall. So let's see here. Renita coming in with a 5. Thank you so much, Renita, for your support. I appreciate it, my friend. Let's see here. Saying, what am I getting, Andrew? Okay, so you, my friend, you are in that level 1 severe weather threat for today. You're in a marginal risk here for severe weather. Now, given that we do not have a tornado risk today, you're good for tornadoes. We do need to look out there for a little bit of gusty wind potential. We do have a 5% chance probability here for some gusty winds ranging between 60, worst case scenario, upwards of 70. So a little risk for severe weather, definitely will be possible. Same thing for winds will be possible. In terms of hail, we also do have that 5% chance out there for hail too, ranging between 1 to 2 inches in diameter. So, potential wind gusts 60 to 70, hail 1 to 2 inches in diameter. You only have a 5% chance probability of that happening, which, is a very, very low risk overall. And the odds are you're probably not going to be impacted by, that big concern. But, we still do need to be weather aware. We still do need to watch out there for this region here overall, as of course, a bit of severe weather still will be possible there overall. And then for tomorrow, we have a potential for a couple more thunderstorms, but not really expecting anything really severe for tomorrow here. So that is that. And of course, day 3 here, we don't really have anything going on. But we do need, once again, guys, Monday, we do need to be weather aware as well, as we do have that 15% risk out there for severe weather for southern Indiana, portion central northern Kentucky, central southern Ohio, and central western areas of out there in central western areas here of West Virginia overall. So. Renita, thank you once again. I appreciate it. Tabletop coming at the 2, man. Thank you, dude. Saying good to know for no tornado risk for me tomorrow. Thanks. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, as of right now, there is no risk for tornadic activity. So that definitely am pretty thankful for. I'm gonna do a little bit more of a breakdown in the models here. We're gonna hop back over here. To the to the models here real quickly. Let's go ahead and bring up our instability here. Let's go ahead and pull this up, looking at our fuel in the atmosphere. Let me go ahead and see. That's wind. We're going to actually remove some of these layers here. By the way, if you guys do want to check out this program, we do have a code for 20% off your first month. If you guys do want to check that out, the URL is right up there. You guys can check it out. This is literally the page we're looking at now. It's a very, very cool, very high-tech model, it's very, or model site, and it's very, very customizable too, if you guys would like to take a look at this on your own time. So given today, looking at today's risk and everything like that, or ingredients, I should say, in place here. As we approach our way later on down in time, a lot of the areas out by Kentucky, Tennessee, into the deep south here, we're going to have a fair amount of instability. There is going to be a fair amount of fuel, for these storms here for today. Nothing super excessive, but there definitely will be enough, fuel for those storms. And if I go ahead and overlay here, let's go ahead and bring up our radar here on top of it. If we go ahead and overlay the radar on top of everything, you can see, those storms kind of firing off within all of that instability here later on, which you guys can see the time in the bottom right here. That's really when we really start to get a lot of those storms firing off, is roughly, like I mentioned here, between 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. That's 3 to 5 Central time. That's roughly whenever we can start to see some of those storms really starting to pop off here. Pretty good amount of instability for those storms to fire off. And of course, we work our way into the early morning tomorrow. A lot of that instability starts to thin out and the storms start to weaken because of the lack of fuel. But then, of course, we start to build in more instability here as we approach our way into tomorrow afternoon, in which that'll kind of set us up for a little bit more severe weather here in the east for the Carolinas and everything. So, That is that. That is that. So, we'll definitely do some live coverage later today. Definitely want to cover this. Overall, there definitely is a pretty good amount of, fuel for those storms. And, given the wind shear, like I mentioned, it's nothing super significant. And, it kind of rules out our tornadic concern here overall, which is definitely good there. Apparently this is... Hold on, let's see here. We're going to have to restart this. Apparently, yeah, the photographs were having a little bit of this skew T-plots and soundings were having a little bit of an issue loading here. Let me see. Bring this up. Probably on my end. My computer's been acting pretty dumb lately. So, yeah, let's go ahead and load this back up here. Hopefully we can get some more views of that. All right, let's hop back over here. Let's see here. Stefan says, hey, Andrew, could I please discuss the risk in Pleasant View, Tennessee? Thanks in advance. Yep, no problem, Stefan. Let's see here real quickly what we got going on. Let me hop over here to your area. So given today, I think you're in that slight risk, I believe, for today, that level 2 threat. So, yeah, you're right here where this little blue marker is. So, once again, we don't have a tornado concern today. We do have a 15% chance for damaging wind gusts here, potential of gusts between 60 to 70 miles an hour, and we do have a 5% chance for hail, 1 to 2 inches in diameter. So your main concern today is going to be the threat for some gusty winds. Overall, 15% chance of it occurring within a 25-mile radius of you. So that's that. So keep it out there for that, but just know that not really. We're really not expecting. Any tornadic concern for today. So that that's certainly certainly some good news. Absolutely. And let me go ahead and talk about timing here with you real quickly. I'll go ahead and bring up the future radar again for y'all. So if we go ahead and hop our way back over here. So you're up there just northwest of Nashville. So if we hop back over here to the models, back over to the HRRR here, you can kind of see, we really do start to get some storm activity rolling through. Which you can kind of see, and you're right here. This is kind of roughly where you're at there on the map. So looking at the timing, you can see in the bottom right here, you can really start to see as we approach our way into the afternoon, we're going to have that potential for a lot of thunderstorm activity kind of rolling through there. It's going to be fairly late. Late afternoon, early evening by the time we do get those storms here. And there could be, more than one round. According to HRRR, there could be a little bit more storms after, but, at that point, we can't really take that super, super seriously. But yeah, really just got to keep an out there for this one here later on this evening. Once again, rough timing. It looks like it's going to be anywhere from pretty much the early evening, anywhere from like 5 p.m. Central, roughly, to about 7 or so. It's kind of when you can expect to see those storms kind of start out there in that region there. So, anyways, hopefully that helps. Moon River says, my goodness, waking up to this report. Hey, Andrew, thankfully, you're always here for us in Callhound, Georgia. Yeah, I'm always here for you guys. I got you. I got you. I guess that's a sign you want me to take a look at Georgia. Yep, I got you. Let me go ahead and pull this up real quickly, and I'll let you know what you're in for here. So today you are in that level 2 threat for severe weather. So you are out here, kind of. You're right in here, I believe. You're right in this area here. So according to the models, it does look like we could start to develop some storms later on, as you can kind of tell. Once again, timing is in the bottom right here, if you guys want to follow along with that. So that's that's going to be quite kind of late afternoon, I'd say early evening, roughly, when you can start to see some of those storms roll through. And it looks like those should clear out slightly after midnight. And we could have maybe some more storms tomorrow out here. But, given your risk here and hopping back over to the Storm Prediction Center here overall, we do have that slight risk at level 2 severe weather threat here. Once again, no tornado risk today. We do have a 15% chance probability for damaging wind gusts here. The potential of some of those gusts, getting upwards of 60, to 70 miles an hour. So, we do have that potential for some strong wind gusts. And of course, we also do have a 15% chance here as well for hail, 1 to 2 inches in diameter overall being a possibility. So keep it out there for that. Renita says, does it say when? I did get a tornado last week. Panicked so bad I had to go to the Oh no, Renita, that's not good. I hope that you're doing okay. I'm glad to see that you're here. That's really good. Renita, I'm really sorry to hear that. Hopefully everything's going good with you. So given a timing, we're gonna hop back to the models here. So given a timing, you're out here. So this is where you're at right there. Okay. So given a timing for storms, it looks like it's going to be fairly early. Coordinate triple R here. I mean, we could be getting this around midnight or so, roughly. Now, the good news at this point in time is that, overlaying the instability here, the fuel for those storms here in general, overlaying that, which we'll go ahead and load up here right now for you guys, around this time, the fuel in the atmosphere is going to start to run out a bit. We're going to really start to thin out on our instability. So those storms shouldn't be as potent overall. Whenever they approach you out here for late today, early tomorrow morning here. So yeah, storms will be pretty late out there. Once again, given your concern, you're in that low level 1 threat, 5% chance for gusty winds, 5% chance for hail, but once again, nothing tornadic expected. So you're good. You're good. Let's see here. Sleeveless says, no, but there's a lot of people that may be losing their windows, windshields. Yeah, so given that hail concern and that, the strong winds, definitely, like I mentioned, should not brush off today's threat. Just because there is no tornado risk today, we definitely should not brush everything off here. That's definitely not a good idea. We do need you to still be weather aware out here, of course, like we mentioned, because, there is still that threat for hail. There is still that threat for, potential of damaging winds and whatnot too. So, yes, we definitely do need to be, we definitely do need you guys to be, staying on top of this still. Once again, there is still going to be that concern there. And, hail and damaging winds are still a bit of a problem, of course. Southern says, hello from Dallas, Fort Worth. What's up? Hope you're doing good, my friend. Let's see here. Janice, let's see, wants me to look at Friday, I'm assuming. All right, let's see, Janice. Let me pull this up for you, first of all. So, yeah, we do actually have a threat, not for Friday. Let's see here. What, today? Okay, for some reason I thought today was Wednesday. No, so for Friday, we do have a marginal risk out here for some areas here. You, my friend, are up in New Hampshire. We do not have a risk for severe weather up here tomorrow. No. You can kind of see we do have a little level 1 threat, which we'll go ahead and bring up for you guys. A little level 1 threat here across the the dark green area here. This is just that little marginal risk. But yeah, you're up here in New Hampshire, and we're not expecting any storms or any type of really severe weather going on up there. Looking at the models though, really it does look like tomorrow we could get a little bit of rain though. But, nothing really concerning. Let me go ahead and hop back over here to the models for you. You can kind of see as we approach our way kind of into, we'll go ahead and load the models up here real quickly. You can see time in the bottom right there. As we approach our way later into pretty much tonight into tomorrow morning, we definitely could get some rain through, but, nothing really, nothing really severe. Quite expected here. Let me actually do something real quickly. Let me bring up here. Is there going to be any snow out here? I don't think we're going to have any snow. I think it might be just too warm for that. Let's see here. Yeah, the good thing about this is that there's like, here we go. We'll go and bring up snow reflectivity. Okay, actually, you know what? No, that's not going to be, yeah, that's not going to be rain. Sorry, that's going to be snow. I do need to make a panel here where I can look at, precipitation type. But no, that's actually, it looks like it is going to be a bit of snow rolling through here for tomorrow morning. Late tonight going into tomorrow morning here, it does look like we're going to be getting a bit of snow. Yeah, that's not rain, actually. Let me, first of all, bring up the, here, let's go and add another layer here. We're going to add a, let's see here. We're going to add temperatures, and we'll go ahead and just point that there. So, yeah, let's just see how cold. Oh, yeah, so you can see the temperature out there as we start to get some of the snow. It appears to be, slightly above freezing. if the snowfall rates are high enough, it, definitely could stick for a little bit, but then, probably wouldn't last because shortly after the event, the snow ends here for like tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures are going to be upper 30s, lower 40s at that point. So, yeah, stuff will start to melt. Whatever does fall, essentially. Let's see. You're welcome, Janice. No problem. Michael, coming at the $5, man. I appreciate it. Saying, hi, Andrew. What about the fire weather for the zip code? Let me pull this up real quickly. Let's see what we got going on for you. Thank you, man, for the 5. I appreciate it. So you are up here in Colorado. Okay, so you're up by the Denver area. I will pull up SPC real quickly here to pull up the fire weather. I believe, let's see, for today, you are not in the risk here for today for fire weather. Tomorrow either. Yep, so you're good. So within the next 2 days, we are looking pretty good. Nothing really going on here. Fire weather's looking pretty good. Obviously, fire weather is calculated from, low relative humidity and high winds. That's what really gets fire conditions going here. And if we take a look back at the models here, which we'll go ahead and load up again here, out there by the region here overall, if we go ahead and pull up let's go ahead and add up the surface humidity. Where is this? 2 meter relative humidity here. Here we go. So if we pull up the humidity here overall, we are pretty low. We are definitely pretty low in humidity, especially as we work our way later on today into the evening hours. Oh yeah, really low humidity. Look at that. Anywhere from 10 to 15% on HRRR here. Let me pull up winds. Let's do wind gusts here. Let's do points. So we'll go ahead and load it up. The good news is it doesn't look like winds are going to be super, super strong out here, as you can kind of tell. Out there by you, those winds should be gusting less than 20 miles an hour. So, while there is low humidity, and it definitely is pretty dry, there's really not going to be the winds to really carry that big concern. So honestly, yeah, we're looking pretty good out here. We're looking absolutely pretty good. And by the way, if you guys do want to check out this site here, in the top left, I have the URL up there. If you guys want to check out this site, you guys can look at the models yourself and all that cool stuff. And also, whoa. Go ahead and load that back up. But also, if you guys wanted to check this out here, we do have a 20% off code for your first month if you guys wanted to buy the full-on subscription. This whole site is literally customizable to how you want it. I mean, you could change the color tables, you can change the layers you have available. I mean, you can add like literally more than one panel here. Like I can load up another panel and compare it with other models. It's super cool. And actually, we're going to do that real quickly. I'm going to compare some of these models here real quickly. We're going to pull up the, let's see here. We're going to go ahead and pull up the, let's see, the GFS on the left panel, and we'll pull up the Euro on the right panel. Because I do want to kind of compare with, so there's Euro, this is GFS. What I do want to compare between the two models, though, later on is going to be, seems to be glitching a little bit here. I don't know why it's doing this here. Sometimes it'll glitch like that. We do need to, every once in a while, refresh this. It is a brand new program, so there is going to be a little bit of bugs, but we're definitely, working those out and stuff. Let's try that again. We're going to go ahead and try to bring this up here. Do GFS on the left, Euro on the right. Hopping back to GFS. There we go. Yeah, that fixed it. But what I do want to really pull up here is the wind shear. Taking a look here, let's do winds. We'll do our 500 millibar jet here. So once again, left is GFS, right is Euro. Here we go. So later on, like I mentioned here, for as we approach our way into was it Monday? Yeah, Monday. We're gonna have that threat for severe weather here. So let's fast forward down in time a little bit till we reach Monday. So there's Friday, going into Saturday. Go ahead and loading Sunday, and then Monday here. Yeah, you can kind of see. Oh yeah, look at that. Get some really strong wind shear here on I have to open that up again. Really strong wind shear here on Monday. Which, like we mentioned, we do have that risk for severe weather out there for like deep South Ohio. Which let me go ahead and bring this up real quickly once again for you guys. We'll go ahead and load up our day 5 outlook here. Let's go ahead and bring y'all back over here. So this is the risk for Monday that we need to look out there for. Like I said, southern Indiana, central northern Kentucky, central southern Ohio, central western West Virginia, and southwestern Pennsylvania here. As of right now, we definitely need you guys weather-aware on Monday, as there's going to be that potential. Tabletop says, do I think tomorrow will be upgraded? I don't think so. I honestly don't think so, to be honest with you. I think it's probably just going to stay marginal here. Let me restart this again here. So the reason why I'm actually going to bring up the instability and stuff again here. Let's go ahead and load up our mix layer instability or cape here. I'm going to overlay that. So we have that. Let's look at the NAM. Let's see, 06 Zulu NAM. So we approach our way down in time here. Okay, so it does look like we do have a pretty good amount of instability that builds up here for tomorrow. This will be tomorrow kind of afternoon, tomorrow evening here. Let's go ahead and load up this single value-wise. Here we go. So it does definitely look like we are going to have still a pretty good amount of instability here. For storm potential and everything. Let me load up the. Actually, I keep changing my mind, man. I want to hop back over here to HRRR. Dude, I love this program, dude. It's just so nice because you can literally just load up anything. Let me bring back the reflectivity here too. We'll bring up the future radar stuff here. But to answer your question, no, I don't think we're gonna have an increased risk tomorrow. So this is later on tomorrow, late afternoon going into tomorrow evening. You can kind of see we have a bunch of scattered thunderstorm activity around here. Instabilities, we have pockets of decent instability, 500 to 1,000 joules or so, which honestly is kind of on the lower side of instability, but, is enough to really get those storms going here. But pulling up our, let's see here. We'll go ahead and pull up our 500 millibar winds here. We'll go ahead and load up the barbs. And we'll have those barbs in yellow. Let's see here. Yep, so mid-level shear is going to be yellow, those barbs that you see here. And which honestly, really not... Yeah, our wind shear is really not... anything super, super strong the further west you go. Now, the further east you go, we do have some pretty strong mid-level flow. Could definitely help keep some of the storms organized for a little bit. You can see we're talking maybe 40, 50, 60, 70 knots or so along the central eastern side of North Carolina, which, will definitely keep some of those storms pretty well organized. It could be, long-lived storms there. Now, also adding our, let's see here. Also adding our lower level winds here too, which we're going to have our lower level winds here in green, by the way. So we'll go ahead and pull those ones up for you. There you go. Yeah, you can see there's really not much veering winds going on here. So, in lower and mid atmosphere, the winds are mostly just traveling in the same direction, as you can kind of tell. So, with that being said, overall, there's really not much veering, not much change in wind directions, which, kind of gets that rotation to occur, which, that's that. Pulling up skew-T plots here, looking at the soundings for later tomorrow. Let me go and fast forward a little bit here. So there's really, like I mentioned, there's a little bit of instability and whatnot, but, in terms of, let's see here. In terms of the veering, though, you can see our hodographs are relatively straight. And once again, our lower level winds here kind of traveling to the north, kind of north-northeast. And, as you go up in altitude, wind direction still kind of flowing in the same area, same direction. So, at least for tornadoes, I don't see that being a concern. Moisture as well. Our dew points are not going to be super high. either. So that's, going to lack a little bit of moisture. But yeah, bottom line is I don't think they will upgrade it. Instability is not, there's not a whole lot of instability. There's enough for storms, a decent amount of mid-level wind shear, but, once again, not much veering going on, not much changes in wind direction and stuff like that. So, let's see here. I'm supposed to be leaving from Fort Wayne, Indiana to Franklin, Tennessee today. Should I be okay? What time should I leave? Let me look. Let's see what we got going on for you, my friend. So you said you're up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Okay, so you're up in, like northeastern. Here, let's go ahead and bring up our future radar for you. Go ahead and load this up with the HRRR. Okay, so you're up here. Fort Wayne is, I believe, right here. Yep, so there's Fort Wayne. So you're going to be traveling south to, you said where? To Franklin, Tennessee. Okay, so, you can kind of see here as we approach our way right around like 4, 5, you can see the time at the bottom right here. 4, 5, 6, basically just kind of early, mid, late evening. You can see we're definitely going to be seeing some storms throughout like southern Indiana, cutting through Kentucky. Honestly, you probably will run into some storms along the way. That is something that you probably will do. Now, like we mentioned, though, tornadoes is not a concern for these areas here, which is definitely good. But for southern Indiana here, as well as like central Kentucky and whatnot, we do have still a concern for some gusty winds, within those storms there, as well as maybe some hail too. So hail could definitely be kind of a bit of a concern here. Let me grab a sounding out here. Check and kind of see what we're looking at here. So yeah, you can definitely kind of tell that we do have a pretty good amount of instability, some pretty steep lapse rates, I will tell you. So the temperatures are really cooling as you go up in altitude here. I really do see a bit of definitely a pretty big concern, maybe for a little bit of hail in the lower side of Indiana here. So hail could be a concern, but like we mentioned, the wind shear is very weak, lower atmosphere, not even really kind of flowing in the right direction here. For anything super crazy. To be honest, though, yeah, just look out for a little bit of gusty winds, a little bit of hail being a potential out here overall, and we'll, just look out there for that. But yeah, once you approach into southern Indiana going through Kentucky, you probably will run into some of that. So. Let's see. I just have my animals in the car because I'm moving to Texas and staying the night in Franklin and just debating to leave tomorrow. Oh, I got you. Well, I wish you a nice, safe travel and a good move. So, tomorrow, given the risk, yeah, a lot of that's going to be mostly out by tomorrow. While the severe weather, it's not going to be anything super, super wild for you today. Like I said, a little shot for some hail, a little shot for some winds. I mean, more than likely, you probably won't run into that. I mean, you probably will run into some storms, but yeah, tomorrow, it'll be mostly clear. If you'd rather wait tomorrow, you'd have a lot less of a chance of running into precipitation tomorrow, as opposed if you went today. So yeah, you can kind of see here for today, we have all of this stuff going on here, for southern Indiana going into Kentucky. And then tomorrow, you can kind of see we get on the back side of this low here. And then essentially, we start building a more stable air in which, more than likely there's, you won't run into as much precipitation as you would, for today. So that's up to you. That's up to you. I think it would be safe if you left today, though. I think it would be okay if you left today. Just keeping out there for a little bit of storms and stuff like that. But, remember that the odds of, running into severe weather is still going to be fairly low, just considering that, this is a pretty low-end risk here overall. So I just don't want to run into hail. That is totally that is totally understandable. Absolutely. But the odds of you running into hail, anything damaging is going to be fairly low, honestly. Yeah, the odds are not really going to be anything super, super high. But anyways, so that's that. So yeah, once again, everybody, we'll definitely keep it out there for these storms. And I do plan on doing coverage today. I think I set up my calendar today to kind of to go live. I'm going to go live at 3 p.m. Eastern time. It might be a little bit before those storms fire off that we'll go live, but we're going to go live. We're going to shoot to go live around 3 p.m., okay? So that'll be 2 Central, 3 Eastern. According to HRRR, storms could start to fire off around then. You can see here, maybe starting to get some storm activity developing, right around that time. So, yeah, we'll definitely go live right around then and there, for you guys. We'll make sure to be there for you guys. But once again, not much of a tornado concern. Definitely thankful for that. Definitely am thankful for that. Let's see here. What is El Nino and La Nina? So La Nina, these are both Pacific oscillations at the equator, measuring if the temperature of the sea surface temperatures is above, normal in terms of temperature or below normal. Below would be a La Nina, above would be an El Nino. Basically measuring the the anomalies of the temperatures along the surface at the equator, which really allows for considering the Pacific is such a big body of water. It's the biggest body of water in the world, and it has a really big influence on global weather. So if it's El Nino, it means, once again, the sea surface temperatures are above normal. It really does shift weather patterns around quite drastically between El Nino and La Nina. But it's not the only thing that does. I mean, you got other oscillations as well. I mean, even in the Atlantic, you got like the NAO, North Atlantic Oscillation. But the main one is El Nino, La Nina, just because of how big the body of water of the Pacific is overall, essentially. But anyways, enough of that. Maybe I'll make a video on that someday, kind of explaining things. If you guys would like that, let me know. Would y'all like me to eventually kind of make different types of weather videos? One for what is El Nino? What is La Nina? Or another one, how to read radar. Or another one, how to read skew T-plots or hodographs or, something like that I could probably do at some point. I do want to do a hurricane forecast soon. I do need to get that hurricane forecast out soon. Given what I believe so far, just from the quick glimpse that I've looked at, I do think we might be slightly above activity, but I don't think we're going to be as high of activity as we were last year. Due to the fact that La Nina is not going to be really present this year, it looks like we're mostly going to be hovering around ENSO neutral status. So kind of normal conditions in the equator of the Pacific. So that's what's in the forecast now. We'll see. We'll definitely see. Kara says, okay, I see, okay, I learned something new today, and thank you. That's what I love about your coverage, because you care for us viewers, man. School didn't teach me nothing. I learned more from here than school. You're welcome, man. I'm glad to help. I am definitely glad to help here. And, sometimes, during coverage and stuff like that, I won't be able to, answer, those type of questions and whatnot. But, whenever we have more of an update and stuff like that, like we're doing now, it's a little bit more easy paced. It's not really as crazy, essentially. But you're welcome. Good morning, Logan. Saying, let's see, it's been really nice in Wisconsin. Looks to stay for a bit. Yeah. Dude, I love this program, man. It's so cool. So looking up in Wisconsin, let's actually go ahead and load or move back up here. So yeah, it doesn't really look like we're going to be seeing a whole lot. It looks like we might get some rain though this morning throughout portions of Wisconsin. Let's see here. What about temperature wise? Let's see. Surface, 2 meter temperature. Let's go ahead and load. Actually, I think I have a temperature. I do. I have my own table I made here. I'll also overlay points too, so you guys can kind of see the exact values here. There you go. So this is temperature. Very bright. let me tone that down just a little bit. That's very bright. Here, let's turn that down quite a bit. There we go. I'll do half. Anyways, but yeah. So looking at temperatures, it does look we're gonna be up in the 40s today. For me, that's cold. I don't know what you talk about. Maybe for you up north, it's pretty okay. Tomorrow's in the 50s. It looks like still kind of breaching the 30s in some places at nighttime overall. But a lot of the a lot of the coldness for this year is thankfully coming to a close for a lot of us. We're starting to introduce a lot more warmer air into the country, which is good. But that's also really making the atmosphere quite mad. When reintroducing a lot of warm air into a cold environment, that really kind of gives you that severe concern, which we've been dealing with, that warm air returning, and, throughout mid upper level atmosphere, the winds are definitely pretty, let's say winds, sorry. It's early. The temperatures are pretty cold, essentially. So, that big change in temperatures with the warm surface and the cold upper atmosphere, that really kind of messes up the atmosphere, gets it pretty aggravated, essentially. Let's see here. Tabletop says, appreciate you answering my question about tomorrow. Sorry, just scared of possible tornado risk. No, you're good, man. No, Tabletop, there is no risk tomorrow. Once again, the kinematics just don't really support it. Lower level, mid level winds are mostly flowing in the exact direction, so there's not much veering going on. Photographs are mostly just straight lines, so really not a lot of concern for that, to be honest with you. So that's that. Let's see here. Renita coming with a $2 super chat saying thank you, Andrew. Renita, you're very welcome. You're very welcome, my friend. I really appreciate the two. Thank you so much for your support. Y'all in chat, please give Renita a big thank you once again for the support. I appreciate it. Let's see. Logan says, nah, man, this is working outside weather. Dude, it's cold, man. I'm in Florida, so 40 degrees is like absolutely freezing to me. I would die. Dude, I used to live up in Virginia like a couple years ago, and, I used to be able to handle those cold temps okay, but now the fact that I've been down here for like over 2 years at this point, it's like, yeah, I can't handle it. I've been in Florida the last, I think 3 winters, so I really haven't had cold temperatures in a long time, except for the 40s that we had at some point earlier in January. January was so cold, dude. January was such a cold month. It's crazy. Michael says, Andrew does a great job keeping people safe. There's a tornado in your area. Maybe better to watch your local news. But if there is tornadoes going in multiple states, he can do what he can. Absolutely. I do what I can to help. Obviously I'm, a one-man team, and I try to do the best I can. But, I can make sure that you guys are staying up to date and stuff like that. I can show you guys where the risks and stuff like that are, and kind of show y'all what the ingredients are looking like, in the atmosphere for these, storms and everything. So, I got you. I appreciate it, Michael, though. I do. Here, we're going to go ahead and overlay the instability and stuff like that again. Let's see, in our winds and mid and lower level wind shear. So our mid-level winds are in the yellow. Those little yellow barbs, and the green barbs are the lower level winds. So mid, yellow, green. The green is lower level. So yeah, you can see once we approach our way. Here, let's go ahead and overlay radar too. Let's see here. But yeah, once we approach our way later on into this evening here, we're going to have a fair amount of instability. Let's see, oh, there we go. I'm still kind of getting used to this program here. But yeah, you can really see, once we approach our way into essentially later on this afternoon, evening, we do start to, pick up some storm development out here. A lot of semi-isolated, actually, fairly isolated. But then it turns clustered as, we work with later on this evening, and then the instability runs out, and then those storms fade out, essentially. But start of this event is going to be sometime late afternoon, early evening, essentially. So, like I mentioned, we'll definitely do some coverage for this later today. But, value-wise, we're talking, according to HRRR, a good 1,000 to 1,500 joules per kilogram of mixed layer instability. I know it's a lot to take in, but that's a pretty good amount of energy, fuel for storms there. Typically anything over 1,000 is pretty good amount of fuel. Sometimes you can get severe weather working in anything lower, but, it can happen. But, generally speaking, in this environment here, a pretty good amount of instability. Like I mentioned, not much veering going on, so it's not really much of a tornado concern. Our mid-level flow is, kind of going to the southeast here. Pretty fast-moving mid-level winds, about 70 knots. That's pretty fast. And our lower-level winds here are kind of moving to slightly to the slightly to the east. So, at about 25 knots. So our lower level winds are fairly weak. They are very weak, and there's really not much of tornadic concern overall there. So, anyways, let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, no, I'm in southeast Wisconsin, and it was snowing here last night, dude. I haven't seen snow in years, man. It's been a while. I love snow. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing it, but dude, I don't like the cold that comes with it. If I'm sitting inside looking at it outside snowing while I'm inside warm, then yeah, then it's okay. Let's see here. Roy says, "Hey Andrew, came to say hi and leave a like on my lunch break." I appreciate that, my friend. It's very nice of you. Thank you very much. Good to see you, Roy. Hope you're doing good, man. Michael says 40 degrees in Florida may be cold, but here in Denver, 40 degrees is nice. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you're a higher elevation, thinner air, and higher up north latitude. So I mean, you're less into that direct sunlight, unlike Florida. Florida obviously closer to the equator. We have more direct sunlight at that time of the year, or really at all time of the year, more compared to you. Therefore, we do have a bit more warmer conditions here. Yeah, honestly, getting a weather radio is a really good idea. I would highly recommend that to everybody. If you guys don't have a weather radio or anything like that, I would highly recommend getting one because obviously, it could warn you for your county if you're in a warning and whatnot. So, definitely could be very, very useful and actually even life-saving. So, yeah, I would definitely highly recommend that. But anyways, once again, guys, storms, like I mentioned, going to be firing off here early evening today. And as we approach way into late tonight, we're going to have a lot of scattered thunderstorms, a lot of cluster of thunderstorms rolling through like Georgia, Alabama. But at this point in time, a lot of that instability or that fuel is going to be getting used up. And then, of course, as we approach right around midnight or so, a lot of that fuel is going to be mostly used up, and storms are going to probably start to fizzle out a bit. That's for today, though. But then, like I mentioned, tomorrow, so you can see the time in the bottom right here, guys. Tomorrow we start to build back more instability. We do have an area of low pressure here. You can kind of see positioned over like western, North Carolina here overall. We do start to build in a bit more instability here for kind of the afternoon, evening tomorrow, and then that really fades out by the evening time, and all. So we'll see. But yeah, most of the wind shear is like mostly just flowing in the same direction. From lower, mid, and upper atmosphere, the winds are basically moving in the same direction. There's not much veering going on. Not much of that concern. Plus, I believe even the dew points here are going to be pretty low at this point. It might even be some elevated storm bases here. Let's see. Let me pull up dew points for you guys. Yeah, dew points are going to be fairly low. Kind of in the mid-lower 50s for tomorrow. For that marginal. Let me, didn't mean to do that. Let me grab a sounding. Okay. Ooh, wait a minute. What is this? Oh, this is early morning. Early morning, there's a pretty good veering profile, but, that's not whenever storms are firing off. And then whenever storms start to fire off, then we kind of straighten out our wind flow. Lower, mid, upper atmosphere. Renita says, Renita, I'm glad to be here to help you, my friend. I am. And if you have any questions, let me know, guys, okay? Let's see here. Oh, nice ice cream. Anthony says, hello, everyone at work, but listening in, not a cloud in the sky. Southwest Mississippi, though. Beautiful day. Good to have you here, Anthony. Hopefully you're doing good, man. Hopefully you're doing good. Glad to have you here. Dude, if storms fired off a couple of hours earlier, this is really early morning though. But you can see there's such a steep temperature inversion here, big cap, so nothing's gonna happen in this environment, anyways. But kinematics wise, if we had this kinematics, if we had that wind shear for the instability that we had later on in the afternoon, evening, then there could be that tornadic concern. But I don't really see that, to be honest with you. I mean, yeah, once again, dew points are fairly low here. Storm bases are going to be relatively elevated, I believe, as well. Yeah, so not really a tornado problem for this area. See, dews today, I believe. Oh. Let's see here. Dews today for the storms out there are going to be fairly low as well, actually. I mean, 40s, 50s dew points. And you can see that that air mass takes over from up north, you know, drying things out a bit, cooling things down a bit. Anyways. All right, everybody. Well, I am probably going to roll off here for now. We've approached over our hour mark here. I just typically do an hour update, you know, live stream for you guys. So probably going to roll off here for now. Like I mentioned, we'll go live later today, though, later on at, was it 3 p.m.? Let's see here. Yes. So I'm going to be live 3 o'clock p.m. for you guys overall. So, you know, make sure you guys are tuned for that. If you have not already, consider subscribing, leaving a like. It'll be greatly appreciated. And, but yeah, we'll definitely be live later on today, guys, to help you guys out, to do some coverage with those storms later this afternoon and evening. Once again, like we mentioned here overall, you know, not a tornado threat today, thankfully. Definitely thankful for that. But, you know, we still do got to look out there for some gusty winds and stuff. So there's, you know, once again, no tornado threat. We do have that 15% wind threat here, you know, across the yellow, 5% across the brown. So if you're in any of the brown or the yellow here, you're in the risk for severe weather. You know, for damaging winds in this case. And then our hail threat, 15% across the yellow, 5% across the brown as well. Hail between 1 to 2 inches in diameter and gusty winds between 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts out there. So we'll definitely keep you guys, you know, on the lookout here. We'll, you know, definitely be here to help you guys later on today. You know, to help you guys out in general. But, you know, mostly, like I mentioned, once again, just a bit of a wind gust concern, you know, within those storms there. You know, potential for gusty winds within those storms and everything. So that is something that we do need to look out there for. I mean, you can really kind of see later on today as we kind of develop those that line there. You know, we definitely could have some pretty strong wind gusts rolling through here, essentially. So, you know, we'll definitely be here to help you guys out and overall. But all right, everybody. Well, thank you all so much for joining. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Once again, we'll catch you guys later on, though. I'll be live here once again at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 Central for some coverage and everything. So I'll be here to help out and everything. But all right, everybody. Well, thank you all so much for joining. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And like I said, we'll catch you all later on here in a little bit. Kind of sound like a broken record, but, you know. It is early. I haven't been up too long, so. But all right, everybody. Y'all take care. Hopefully, I'll catch you guys later on for some coverage. All right, everybody. Stream's going to head off here in approximately 1 minute. So go ahead and say goodbye to your friends, your family, anybody you're hanging out with in the chat. And all right, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining. We'll see you guys later on. Peace out, my friends. Catch y'all in the next one.